Howdy folks, welcome back on a Tuesday. What's going on? Let's get right into it. Everybody, what are you doing? Get with the Harmonic Pattern Collection for TradingView right now. Send your TradingView username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. Let's get it. Great to see you guys. And the what if scenario from last week is now what scenario? NASDAQ doing the pullback. 25,655 right now is the only number you need to think about for the day, and I think probably 492. I'll talk about what I did this morning. I had two whiffs right at the top. I'll get to that in a second, but we're in this pullback that we talked about last week, guys. It's a type 1 deep crab on NQ here. And 439 is where that minimum objective is. So look, deal with it. We're in a pullback phase. We're in a retracement phase, which is what we talked about on Thursday. But you guys don't want to hear about NASDAQ. I know you want to talk about Bitcoin and where is this going. So I'll jump over to there and we'll just kind of get up to date on this nonsense. 101.7, guys, and we talked about why 107 failure was a big issue. And that last week, we kind of just stared at the realities, the harmonic pattern realities of the fact that we still have some unresolved work, which was, for me, it's 93,000. And I just kind of was getting into that last week that we're giving this more than enough time and that it would still fit within the last couple of patterns that we've seen on the daily. So that's target one is 93. And I don't care if it bounces 15 grand from here. The inability to get above the September highs and give us any constructive anything was what we talked about all last week. Begrudgingly, no doubt, because where is our 155, 160 target? And if not 155, 165 now or the end of this year, then what do we need to do to get anywhere further? And this was a kind of the thing we got to of just saying, okay, well, it looks like weekly it's just taking a lot of time. And that we probably need to get oversold again, like we did the last few times. Now, I'm going to say that this is a little bit different because where we're coming off of is a bigger level than I would even say here. I'll get to this in a second, why this 1618, 1902 zone is critical. I mean, it's everything for what we do, and I think it's even bigger in terms of the whole growth cycle of what Bitcoin's trying to achieve longer term. I mean, this is the big range. 101.7, that's great, guys. Again, I'm just gonna let this happen. So let's dig in, because the weekly objective here to trigger anything has to come in oversold. And we talked about why this was so important last week. That breakdown under the 50 level and then just the flat out rejection. And that was why we had that big problem with what happened in early November, second week in November with that flash. So for now, okay, that's, again, we've got work to do. I think it's going to happen pretty quickly. Bitcoin's down 5,000 right now, and it's just more crypto volatility. Let me point out one or two things that I think are really telling, and what we talked about last week, they're starting to quickly come to fruition. Solana is that flat out type 2, and there's no reason why. The only thing we didn't like was where the confirmation was, but it's a target 2 creature now. I mean, there's just if we're going to do harmonic patterns, let me kind of circle back here. All right, you guys show up. We do this twice a week, whatever. I have my other crew that, we're in that chat most mornings, practically every day. I have a Monday meeting with everybody of the smaller group. And what we're doing is we're trying to convert the natural harmonic levels to strategy, information, a framework. And we've been talking about the fact that, with Solana being such an ideal deep crab on the weekly, doing the type 1, hit target 2, come back for type 2, we didn't know immediately, but probably 3-4 weeks after the fact of not being able to get higher, we started to say this is probably a type 2. And it continues lower till we reach target 2. That's just natural. Think of it as like a market mechanism. We know markets have to retrace gains before they can stair step higher. And this is one of the clearest ways they do it. So what's going on, everybody else? Come on in. A few more people piling in. Great to see everybody. One second. Let me get this other chat group. Let me make sure we're good here. Thank you. I'm going to check that other chat. Guys, we're going to do our Thursday special session. So get here a little earlier. Probably kick it off like 12:15 on Thursday. This will be a part of our Black Friday extravaganza mad rush to the end of the year. So if you guys wanted to jump on the software, okay, Thursday's the time to start. I'll have a few announcements. I'm going to throw in a couple of things because I really think what's going to happen here with crypto and the markets to be able to get through what we need to see, like you get through this retracement, you're going to have maybe a more thorough understanding of why we're doing what we're doing. The 1,618 ratio, guys, is so critical as the foundation to all metrics. Okay, it is the natural primary cycle, if you will. And I don't get into too much of like the mystic aspects of why the ratios work, but there are definitive reasons. What we do here is highlight the software, show you guys how to interpret it, to be able to navigate markets and understand why. For example, why is Solana down today 10 bucks? Why is it 156 at new lows that we haven't seen in months? It's because it's a type 2. It was done. It was finished. And by the end of September, early October, we're like, okay, this looks like it's, despite the irregular or lacking of ideal confirmation, preferably we want that to the right of the T2. We still had it, but the breakdown was even more significant. And I would, if you're a big fan of Solana and you think it's going forever, what have you, and you want to look for the next jump on point, that is not until 105. We're currently 156. So that's why we do what we do here. And nobody's, look, this is the only place doing harmonic patterns. And it's all about the levels, or I'm wasting your time. Okay, there's a zillion narrative channels. But what we do is lay out the framework, pinpoint the levels, the confirmation, and go with that. Now, I'll show you, I'll circle back here in a couple minutes on the NASDAQ, just as a trade I had this morning and why I whiffed it. But it happens. It's part of the reality of it all. But still, we're trying to stack and just hit as many the ideal candidates as possible, line up our opportunities, and remain disciplined. Because, look, a lot of what we do is waiting for these situations to develop, come to us, and give us the signals we're looking for to define a trade opportunity. That trade opportunity for Solana has been down for the past 8 weeks, will continue to be down for the next at least 5, 6 weeks until we hit target. That's 105.89 minimum, guys. Minimum. One or two more. You know I like Binance Coin. You know I loved that chart for a long time. And I said, okay, it did a massive mad run. I still think it could do bigger things, but ever since this top out and what we saw up here, this overextended run, we're saying let it come in. Let it come back, test some levels. We were talking about, I think it was 880, kind of a 382 here. No, sorry, 1030 or 618 off of basically the retracement for the year. 618 retrace, like 830, 850. Yeah, I think that's what you have to do. Plus, let this thing, they're all clicking oversold. So that's happening today. Okay, and let this thing come in, guys. We're going to get some oversold levels, but it's going to be lower. Come on in, everybody. What's going on? Great to see you. What's up, Greg? Bullscript, Dennis, Joselio, David, as always. What's up, David? What's going on over there? What's going on in crazy Europe? Anyway, all of that, okay, big retracement. Another, here goes Binance Coin doing another 40% quick retrace. Let it come in. Now, there's been a few others that I've mentioned that, again, I have more serious concern of, and I think Doge is probably on deck of watching this thing. How bad is it going to get? Doge is going to show you. Because Doge, I think, is going to be the start of getting of the eviscerations of the rest of it. And I've told you guys last cycle Doge was my coin. I did not participate on one bit of Doge this cycle. And ever since we've had some back-to-back patterns, the flash crash from 3 weeks ago, it's all of that pointing right back for full minimum 14, but I'm thinking deeper, like 10 cents. And so if that's happening, and we're not going to, let's stop fighting the framework here. Embrace it. What's that telling us? This has got a ways to go. Definitely has a ways to go. And probably the clearest one, and I really bashed this last week, was that Cardano back to 30 cents was not a crazy idea. I know a bunch of the flash crash candidates destroyed it back in October. Oh, look at all these guys that they edited. Now they edited the feeds. Oh, that's amazing. Coinbase, where's there you go. Some, not all did, but Binance still kept it real. So there's Cardano. That's the other one. Okay, with the flash crash, it completely broke everything down. And here, what is back down here on Cardano? Kind of obvious, larger support points that, all of what happened for the last year was kind of fugazi in total. You had the move from last summer up into December. And since then, what? Full 886 retrace, most likely. And that's it. You're done. You're done. You're done. Goodbye. Talk to me, Cardano. I mean, with a legit target, 30 cents all the way down there, and then spend a lot of time down there. That's the other thing. A lot of time down there, guys. This breakdown with looking at the levels, the bigger levels, the fact that you've now cracked it here on the 50. Look at this. Hold on the weekly. There you go. Weekly and monthly. Now hitting oversold on combo. That's pretty deep though. but it's just starting this week. I mean, I don't. Mm, I think at 50 cents, I don't short. And this is the other thing, guys. I don't do crypto futures. I don't. I've been long a lot of spot in the past. I'm still long spot. I'm getting crushed. But the futures and even shorting it, I just never got into it. And maybe I should. And just kind of sell Cardano down to 30 cents. Because there's nothing there. There's nothing here. And the follow through, again, I think we can all agree. 4 weeks later, after whatever that was in October, it shows you what's down here. And I said this even that this whole wick would probably get retested like that into that zone. So again, I have zero in crypto to offer you. I don't look at any of this as an opportunity, and if I'm looking at Bitcoin, the rest of it, we'll just keep our eye on it. Basically super FUD uh, crash stream, I guess. If we break this lower, Bitcoin currently 101. I think this guy's settle in. Settle in. It is now 1250, 1251. NASDAQ's off 400 right now. Bitcoin's off 53, 5400. I would not be surprised to see this thing really start to accelerate under 100K. And then once you're under 100K, let's go. Let's hit some levels. Every the 5 bar range on the weekly is getting taken out. And again, even if you bounce off of here like they've done a few times, there's enough damage. Again, all of this we really were kind of calling out in the last couple of weeks, and then this bar this week, you have to be looking at that as saying, okay, it doesn't want to do it. It didn't do it. That's kind of really since that flash crash in October, we're like, okay, that's not how it should be going. If we're going to take it higher and go above the 1618, 1902 range. 111 was the number forever, and then 107 got violated. And now let's just kind of look at what is possible here. Off the shark, yeah. And then we have a couple of these harmonic impulse waves. They look like this, where you get X, A, B in a tight configuration. This is called a harmonic impulse wave because C point violates the A, and then it just splashes down into 1618. If it's a shark, it would have an 886, but that 1618 lines up like that. And here's another one. So you're here. Yeah, we could even go off of that, but it's like this. There you go. Big fake out. That's been the problem. The 113 fake out. Go down to a 1618, guys, pretty quickly. That's 96. The other numbers are 93. Yeah, I'm not even going to think about it. Not even going to think about it. That's the plan. We've been really kind of complaining about this for a month. Now today, hit the switch. The other big crypto, and this, enough, quite frankly, Ethereum just hit the 3,500 target, that retest we've been looking for, and straight through. And it's gone. Because, look, remember the bat pattern? And let this be a living example, guys. Okay, of a harmonic pattern, type 1 reaction, type 2 return, type 2 reversal. Because that's what we just went through over the last 30 days. Type 1, big reaction, And we talked about why that rejection was so critical. And we've been looking for 35, 39. We got 30, exceeded that, and we are back-to-back pattern. So um, it looks like a lot's going on here, but the whole pattern configuration, the framework, has been spot the F on. Target one was 34.91. That was hit. That was hit on the first kind of drawdown when we did the bat on the flash crash. But we went up, came back down. What has to happen now is confirmation, and you're many bars away. There's our three indicators. You know, the real one we want to always look at, HSI. Look at that. HSI, where's that headed? Straight down. And I said this last week, I should bring up a clip, because this is exactly the kind of thing we were talking about, where it's an M formation. It's kind of the like the bat action magnet move, but this is on the indicator. That's a big complex failure under the 50. So a lot of people, you know, it's amazing. They say, "All right, I don't do indicators," and if they don't work for them, that's fine. For me, what these indicators tell me is, okay, what's the internal strength of the trading, of the action? And when you have something like that where you're clearly under the 50, clearly under the 50 level, okay, that means your current trend progressing lower is continuing, and you know, let that do it. Let it fall. Let it come in there and drop. So that for Ethereum, I don't think you stop till you hit the hop level at 3,100. And why not have another type 1 go to target 2? And I'll say this is you know, pretty amazing, because the Ethereum move off the low from back in April, we were kind of like, what the hell's Ethereum doing here at 1,400 or 1,500? Maybe it's done for now, and did this kind of manipulated move, and then we're up here at 4,700. Like, well, I guess it's going to break out, but we still, either way, had to wait. And I said, well, maybe this is going to give us a better setup once we get the retracement done. Well, that point should be somewhere in here, and we don't have any confirmation yet. I'm just saying, if you were looking for a long opportunity, you're still nowhere close to a larger opportunity on weekly or what have you. And again, I've not been into Ethereum on this cycle either. I still say it's a Bitcoin cycle. And Bitcoin pretty much disappointed our maximum expectations. Ethereum now, again, I'm not, you know, I'd still say lower, and potentially a lot lower. It's just how it is. The longer term implications of this is something too. You know, it's going to be a long time till you can bust out of a double top like that. I would say you have to take out, you know, weekly, give all these weekly signals, and actually generate some kind of other oversold weekly indicator. You're reading there. You're not. You're actually, with today's breakdown, you should be accelerating. You know, I don't. You guys know that, you know, we've been in front of this for a few weeks. We really kind of were mudslinging last week on all of this. Well, now you've got acceleration. I mean, I'm sorry, that's you know, a textbook, and you write it down. I give you a precedent. You know, that this kind of a bar here breaking down is a lot like where you were kind of like here back in the beginning of the year. So be it. But that's what's going on. What's going on, everybody? I haven't even, I'm not paying you. Can you short crypto? Yeah, you can short crypto. You can go in futures. They got futures, Coinbase, and all the other ones. I think, right now with this breakdown, it seals the deal. I would be looking at the weakest ones. I think the Cardanos of the world are they've violated all of their support levels. Those are probably better than Ethereum or Bitcoin, but I think Ethereum, with this kind of breakdown, it would go lower. Target 3,300 or so. But I think the real story is like, you know, looking for entries on Solana, looking for entries on even Doge to a lesser extent, and if you're going to go that far, or Cardano. Cardano is the one it's begging to go back to 30 cents. And that's going to be the legacy of the last cycle. Seriously, it's going to end up being a massive Fugazi. It's going to be Fugazi versus 2020. All the moves that we're going to have a full reset, retrace, and the rest of them will evaporate. What do you guys have? Give me one or two crypto. Here's the one that does not want to die, Zcash. Zcash was 450, 475. Okay, I've been like in all of that since 125. And now you got people out saying, yeah, Zcash is going to 10,000. Get out of here. Get out of here. I mean, let's put it this way, and this is going to be a part of actually what we do on Thursday, lining up what are real possibilities, okay, and how to kind of strategize as we go through this, because we're in a retracement phase, and we're going to have to get through this retracement phase between now and the end of the year before anything else. Zcash would be simply to wait for a dot or arrow oversold, much like we saw here and here and here and here. Get the picture? Gotta wait on this. If you're super impatient, go to an hourly chart and take smaller whacks at it, but I think the 4 hour time frame is your friend. Like, let's say you wanted to go Bitcoin and just start, you know, buying retracements. Is this an oversold opportunity? Not yet. Now 100,008, guys, it's going to drop in a heartbeat. Oh, here you go, crash stream. Here we go. Let's just pull it up. Okay, this is not even oversold on a 4 hour basis with HSI and amplified. Again, target 93K here with this dump, because we're going to take out 100K, guys. This has been the deepest move really since June, and then you come to June, okay, that's under 98. Forget it. Forget it. So there you go. I mean, we're step by step here. If you wanted to get on something like Zcash because you thought it was going to 10,000, don't you think we're going to get oversold? Yeah, we'll get oversold where you can wait at least on a 4 hour chart. That's just one example. I mean, that's trending, right? But nowhere oversold yet. You've had a few opportunities, but Dan L says, okay, XRP. I said XRP would go to 10. I don't think I said 10, Dan. I said maybe 5 or 6. And XRP's back down. Now, XRP, we talked about since this big flash crash candle. And so for the last month, really since then, we've been calling the whole thing into question that there would be a lot more time. The bigger extensions, again, of what are the maximum targets? And I'll get to this in a minute with, as a follow up from last week. There's the Gartley. Okay, this was what we were targeting on XRP, where here again a 1618, okay, 1902 range. That's Bitcoin, that's all of them, 350. The bigger possibility of a 2618, this is a lot like the way we framed out Bitcoin, was 2618, and that was 465 or something. And that's not happening. And we've been saying that for like the last month, that more work was going to have to come down to the downside before that could even, we can consider that. And you'd have to take out that 1902. I mean, Bitcoin did the shake and bake above a 1902 for about, I don't know, a few days, and then right back down. But we've been saying that for, I think we've really been kind of pounding on this since that flash crash, that this is, look at it in terms of taking more time than anything else. And I think you're going to have to get weekly oversold. You're there. This is a different spot than we were this summer, and these lower readings, even you go back to March, April. So I'll be clear on it. I think the big shift of what we talked about last week, where it's 1618, 1902 range. And I even said to you guys that I was premature calling for that, looking at like that to fail right there. That was back in, I thought we were failing it back in August. Or maybe it was even like July. I thought it was at June. No, it was August. We were so close to breaking that out, and it was right at the top. And I called myself out on that back in like 2 weeks after the fact. But now, as we said last week, in the last couple of weeks, this has got more work to do. And the internal action really kind of rolled over about 3 weeks ago. So just brace for the retrace. Look for the retrace. And again, you want to look for long positions. They're not here either. What I'm saying is character change right there. Okay, major character change on a weekly chart, no less, an individual price action after giving this plenty of time. So where are the obvious levels for retrace for Bitcoin? Again, you got some daily stuff. You got even weekly stuff that's lower. I'm going to say 93 now, and I'm not going away from that until we hit that first. Where is it? Hold on. Here you go. And the rest of it, as we've been saying, watch the F out. You want to trade Bitcoin after, it's down 5,500, it's just a trade. Is there anything here on a hourly, 5 minute? Oh, interesting. Software is kicking out a crab pattern, hop level, not the best, but anything here is just it's just an oversold bounce. All right. A couple of different feeds are showing us with immediate hop level on Bitcoin at 100,500. But it doesn't change the fact that the weekly targets, daily targets are still lower. 101. I hope it bounces. I mean, the daily's like this. And the shark pattern, as irregular and as ugly as that has been, it hasn't been able to get busted. And again, rolling over says we probably do hit target one, much like we did with this crab pattern. And that's what we said at least a week, maybe 2 weeks ago. That even as ugly as that crab pattern and that bat pattern, the bearish patterns in this uptrend all hit target ones, kind of as a process. And I don't, it bothers me that it's irregular, but it's also crypto. Non-traditional market here, especially after what we saw a month ago. They can pull any shenanigans they want. Right now, I'm gonna stick with how the framework has been unfolding over and over again. Again, let's best thing would be to get to 93 thou, get oversold, and then we can reassess. But for now, no thanks. No thanks. I mean, again, would I buy anything there? It would be at 93. That I would first look. Okay. Here's GBTC, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. I think this is something else really interesting. Again, when you lay the levels, guys, then it tells a story. And go. It's up to you to use the levels and interpret it as the way it's showing us. Okay, the Gartley, this mega Gartley for Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. It's on the weekly. It's on the monthly. Even better, clearer. It got to the 1618, 1902, was there, not even full one, wasn't even a full 1902 off of the pattern. So treat it like a 1618 on Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And it has tested this level. It first ran up there, I guess that was May, and we banged here for a few months. And I always think it's always looking at a zone area. We're always looking at more than just one bar, and you've had 4 or 5 months, certainly the last 3 months, inability to get through there and then break down with that kind of individual breakdown is a major deal. And how do you kind of frame it out from that point? Or what are the basic assumptions? Is that, okay, if that's a 1618 off of a mega pattern and it is interrelated, you go into that 1618 pause. You have to do the work. Yeah, I mean, this is just, it is the, I don't know, I'm not going to say get into kind of the mystic mathematics of why it works, but man, the 1618, once it's proven itself, and this is what it is. It's a massive 1618 off of the Gartley consolidation cycle that now needs to digest 236. I don't talk too much about that, but that's a mini kind of retracement, Fibonacci retracement. That's like 77, but you guys know 382 minimums. That's really where harmonic levels sit. That's 64, guys. That's 64. I'll first look down here another $2 lower, but I'm thinking we're probably primed for another 382 off of that whole cycle, and then hope to get oversold. That's the 1618 in action. Speaking about 1618s in action, NASDAQ is now ready to go to target 2, and we're off 450. What do I expect for the broader markets and the VIX? Again, we talked about this last week. We got to digest the 1618, and this will be a lot of what I talk about on Thursday. So again, hit subscribe, guys, to the channel so you get the notification. Normally, I do this on a GoToMeeting. I'm just going to keep it open, and then we'll announce what we're going to do for Black Friday, and I'm going to put together kind of packages so that if you guys want to be a part of what we do, Harmonic Trader, you can get it all here now. NASDAQ, guys, down 440 right now. What has been the big number? 26,500. I do want to kind of make it clear that there was a slight data discrepancy of why we were looking at the December contract versus like continuous. Also, the QQQ that hit some big levels. So I just want to make that really clear, because I know we were looking at December contract that was not quite 26.5, and then you've got this kind of move here. We're already at the 1618, and that's like 26.3. That's on the continuous contract. But either way, okay, I said this last week that I feel like we've hit the targets. And it doesn't have to be the end all be all for, I'm not saying like, run for the hills, but for what we can achieve for now, this has always been the objective. And this is where kind of the outlook as a trader and how to make those adjustments are really critical. Off of that 2022 correction, guys, check out, we're pretty much landing exactly at the 2618 extension, which means we have achieved an extreme harmonic impulse wave. Okay, a extreme harmonic impulse expansion. On NQ, that's it, like 26.3. On the continuous futures, it is like 26.5 or so. But we've hit major levels, and the only way you guys are going to know this is by understanding how critical 1618s are and harmonic ratios in general. And we're here. And now, so we're seeing like week one of a retrace that has to pay for the 1618. We have to digest this massive move off of April. It's been as ideal as possible. Don't be surprised that the 1618 is rejecting this stuff. 26,450, 25,645 right now. And again, weeklies like this, we're in, even on the weekly chart, on extended hours, 439 is what I'm targeting immediately, like by Thursday, if not by today, quite frankly. But let this whole thing come down. That's harmonic pattern framework in action right now as a type 1 reaction. The QQQ is like this. There you go. 630, now 620. We got the dot yesterday. All right, and it's here. I mean, so many different things got overextended off of that October move. Here's the daily. Daily is a dot today, so that's a big deal. And then let's look back for the last year. I mean, we did it. Really remarkable. The 1618 off of that return move. There you go. There, 1618 to the bar. So that's a big development there, folks. Be aware of it. I mean, again, 80% of what you do with harmonic patterns, especially early on, is kind of just waking up to the levels that you haven't seen until now, and understanding how critical it is to have your eyeballs on the 1618s and know what has to happen. Just, hey, we have to go through a retracement. It's kind of like an automatic, almost just clockwork cycle level when they're this clear. That's 630. We know we had some gaps in the last couple of weeks. Go on back and fill those at a minimum. That's 617 just from 2 weeks ago. A lot going on here. I want to be kind of in front of it, embrace it, look for, just understand that we have gone as far as we can. And I've been probably more bullish than most of anybody over the past 2 years. And I was looking for a retrace at the beginning of the year. This is some of the stuff we will cover on Thursday. It'll be a review, of how we got from like into this. Then we had the retracement, and then we had the return move, and it just absolute reaching that maximum limit for now. Let me get the better, hold on. Change this here. 620, guys. Down 480. NQ, there you go. So right now, QQQ, digest the 1618, come back down, and give us the next step in the process. Yeah, the 2618 was like this. It was almost spot on with that. Right now, the 1618, that's where you're at from April. It's like this. Okay, 382 for NQ from here, guys, is a lot lower. It gets down to somewhere of like 540-ish, 545, 550. That's great. Let's chop off the 600 handle first. And even if I'm going to get like a little 236 or whatever, off of that 1618 from here, it wouldn't be a big deal within the context of the long-term trend. I mean, even a minimum, we go to the daily here. And as I said, there's lots of gaps that need to get filled, even in the short term, like 611. Right now, today, we're begging for 618. So we've hit the levels. We've gone far enough for now. Let it come back in. I do think we'll get, pretty quickly, we'll get another daily oversold like that on the Qs. But, for now, we're, up in here. At least let this digest. 450. Couple more. BTC's under 100K now. Good. We'll bounce back and forth. A little crash stream here. Great. There you go. It was down there for a second, I guess. It's there, guys. What's your job with harmonic patterns? Digest the framework first and foremost, to integrate the information so that you have kind of the optimal levels to guide you, where to get in, where to get out, what can we truly expect. And I think on the daily here, to go to 93.2 would be just not a big deal. And we said 107 cracks and fails. Really last week, that was just where I said leave it there. The only other thing I would consider, all right, as other possibilities come lower, it just as this continues, the weekly continues lower. After this breakdown, you would need at least a few bullish weeks. So there's really nothing here, and I say that relative to a lot of people who are saying, okay, Michael Saylor's still buying, and all these guys are still buying, and this is, it's just another retracement. Yeah, but the retracement has a lot more to go before it truly is a price where, it's a low risk entry. It's going to be the fourth one in a year. Like that, and like that. Until then, you've got to stick with it. Don't be afraid to miss it. There's zero here. I mean, really, 111 was that was it. Should have led to something from there. Uh, guys, again, if you didn't catch the last couple of weeks or you're confused, I mean, just quickly put my playback speed at 1.5 and go through the last 2 or 3 sessions. My only concern is that is this it for the cycle? Is this it for the year? Was that it? Was 125 it? And we're not going to get any expansion higher? No extreme 3618 or 2618. No 155. I'll see. I'll see at 93 first. Okay. Beyond that, we can stair step other levels, but until we're oversold, I'm not even gonna look at that as anything other than a sharp downdraft. Yeah, 1,500 is just that's a number. 93 is a target. Couple more. Appreciate it, Greg. Yeah, I think this is going to have to be expected some more. All right, where, yeah, it's going to be ugly. And I would still wait for those signals. It's just been, I think, everyone looking for that continuation. It didn't happen. Like, that was it. For me, I've been waiting. Yeah, I was waiting for the breakout to go 2618 extreme. We never got there, which is surprising, especially with what gold did. Can it still go? Not until we get some oversold. Weekly. Really? I mean, I wouldn't, I'm not even thinking about that until we finish that retracement. This is a retrace, guys, that's very similar to the beginning of the year. It's a retrace where we were looking for that to come down and went deeper than we thought and took longer, but it would need a signal like that. That's really how I feel. And if you weren't with us at the beginning of the year, I invite you to please review our January session, our January strategy session. Couple more. Iran up today. Amazing. There you go. I mean, that's amazing, right? I'm impressed. It's up $1. But what is that? It's a 2618, guys. You're at a 2618 all-time expansion here. Can it go higher? Yeah, but I think you're starting to kind of roll over. Iran has been one of the biggest of winners, quite frankly, of all of those, and it wasn't for crypto-related reasons. They signed all the contracts and said, all right, let's not do crypto, let's do data centers. That's why that's doing what it's doing. But even on a bigger basis, 2618s, yeah, you're probably it for now. I would be looking to take profits at the 2618 and wait for a retracement on Iran. There's nothing to chase there. Zero. Maybe some of these others, like, look, we were looking for Riot to come back to like 17 on the daily here. Where was it? It was 16. Was it Riot or Mara? Looking for a retrace. Let me check Mara. It was one of these, I think. And they've been popping. Yeah, there it was Mara to 17. And there it is. Okay. Is it an opportunity? Not yet. Remember, Mara was a bunch of patterns here at 21. Was there any other way that we would be able to discern that other than this? Understanding, oh, shark and a crab, couple patterns, 21. There's the T2 designation. I mean, that's how to read it. If we were looking for an opportunity up here, no, nothing. I mean, the target one back in early August, that was a great return opportunity, but that's it. But everyone's looking for, the return from T1 at 15 back to 21. That's a great trade. The problem is everyone's looking for this to go not to 21, but do an iron and go to 50. It's not, but that's not the reality. So come on back down. Get oversold. Like Mara and Riot, all right, the retraces we were looking for, they've done them. But are they oversold yet? Not yet. Does it mean I'm going to just dismiss them forever? No, I'm going to let that register some oversold signals before I consider that any kind of an opportunity. It's a lot closer than it was a month ago. And we can say the same for CleanSpark, which was the other one that we were on, back at 9 or 10, went to 20, now came, and this is from last time. Okay, the whole overbought, all of that. Well, we, maybe not down to T1, but we do have our first getting oversold. We need a dot. You need some clear oversold signals down here on this retrace. So I'd be looking, but it's just not there yet. Where's the, HSI is back in the oversold as well. A few more days, but that's certainly the kind of retrace that we said up here. It's just gone too far, too fast. Like at 21, you missed the entry. The entry was down here. That's something we talked about, CleanSpark, especially with the big Gartley. Remember that? At 10, confirmation was like 950. Well, it did the move. T2 was 884. Went to 23. You're done. You gotta kind of like be done with it. It's done. The pattern served its purpose. Now we'll look for the next set of bullish variables for the long position. IREN is an outlier. Okay, great. Congratulations. You caught that. That's awesome. I'd still be thinking about taking profits. Some degree of trade management. What was the other one? IREN and was it HUT? Yeah, HUT. Amazing. There's HUT. Did nothing. 2023, that's $3. But you go sideways for 2 years, even at the low at April, it was still 10. And then goes to 50. What are you doing? There you go. There's the weekly objective. Any patterns? Anybody see any patterns here? Oh yeah, it's a type 2 bat. I mean, it's not, looks like it's trying to outrun it, but look, there was the type 1, the 886, and then come on back. There. Any confirmation? Not yet. We overbought? Not yet. I mean, it's rolling over on amplified, but I would still be looking at that hop. You're up there for 4 weeks. That's acting as resistance. Not that I'm saying this is going back to zero, but look, it would just come back for another retrace. You guys, we're going to get another set of opportunities. But it's after we finish this whole buy cycle. The buy cycle hit the targets. Done. Let's let it come in. We'll get more opportunities. It's not now, though. It's, again, I come back to this January of this year. Markets made huge moves. We were looking for retraces. It took a bit longer, went for longer, but then when it bottomed, it was phenomenal opportunities. Same thing could be said here. Yeah. Couple, just check CleanSpark. BMNR, yeah. So BMNR is one of these return Bitmine inversion recovery thing that hold on, just clean this up. Uh, we've been looking at that. Here you go. Looking at that dot. What happened? The last dot is bearish on that. Could not break out here. Rolled over. Uh, I would just wait for a pattern. I think what you're going to get some kind of Gartley here, and I say this because, and not even where does I think I'm confusing this with Circle. I think I'm hold on. Well, that rolled over. I think I'm confusing this one with Circle CRCL, which was like this. Yeah, really similar. Look at those charts. Really similar. That it was this kind of a thing. Here's that 886 retrace on Circle. Like XABCD, 886, like 90 bucks. BMNR, maybe it's not even as nice of a chart. Yeah, I mean, BMNR, I would just let that thing drop. Don't like it. I really don't like it. I want to puke on it, quite frankly. The last 10 days of just absolute breakdown on that. Again, another one where let it, if you're looking at it, you don't even want to look at it until you get some daily oversold. There's the 4 hour. No thanks. NASDAQ trying to bounce a little bit, but I expect this to be under 25.6 here very soon before we even finish. A couple more. Yeah, I don't, guys. Yeah, it's now under. Let's go. Let's go back. You're just saying it's under now? Okay, you flashed it under 100 for a second. It was 99.9. Great. Great. That's great. Let's see if we can stay with this here. 99 is just 100K is just a number at this point. Again, guys, it's 93. I'll keep an eye. If that really gets under 100K, let me know. Let me know. Uh, yeah, a few more. What's going on? Just kind of following up with you guys. Yeah, what's up, Ogelio? You got it. Hey, what's up, Labor Dash? October, up November, up November? No, it was a red October, Labor Dash. Sure. Yeah, we can look at Tesla. What's up, Alan? Let's look at ICP. I don't know why, but I'll entertain your curiosity here for a second because this is pretty much how we should treat rest of crypto. Look at that. All right, it's up a buck 50 at $5. So what? I mean, really, so what? Is there something going on here? You know, down there, a couple, what, last month you were at the all-time lows. A couple of patterns down here. Yeah, so what? Weekly shark. So what? And so what? I mean, again, you're up a buck 50. That's great. I'm not playing. I'm not playing the games anymore. I mean, again, I would going to be a part of a lot we talk about on Thursday because how the hell are we going to get to really conquer the next 2 3 years? Okay, and that's what this is about. It's about riding this larger wave for the next 2 or 3 years. If it's crypto or otherwise, I think it's going to require a heck of a lot of selectivity, and it's not trying to buy things off of the all-time lows. I want stuff that's trending, and we're going to have to go through this retracement to get the next set of opportunities. I'm glad you brought it to my attention. I didn't know it was up a buck 45. You got a few things there, but even with all the patterns and hop level, I still wouldn't touch it. I mean, if the only thing that is doing any kind of crypto thing is Zcash. And who's to say Zcash is not done? I mean, again, this is depending on your data feed, but here's Zcash as the best performing crypto probably all year. But I mean, of the big top 100, and you've just checked back at 450 with an HSI. Like that's it for now. You still need 2 weeks, two red candles to seal the deal, but that's it. So take a hard look, okay? Be discerning. We're going to get the next slew of opportunities, but Zcash, which is the best one, I'm looking for that to finish what it started. And there is no end of the year run. How about that? If anything, year end retracement. And a lot of these, I have serious concerns. Here's another one, this Cantor Equity Partners. I know we've looked at this a few times. This came out. Whatever that was is just in a full 886 reset already. And we've seen it time and time again. Like the circle, whatever, bang, bang, ABCD. That's at a 618, even a 786 or 886 is maximum. No confirmation until that's, not even thinking of that unless we had confirmation, and that's just been down. That's the crypto pattern. You have a 1, 2, 3 week rush, and then it's over with some exception, but most of them are cooked. Cooked. Say that again. What else? John's asking, what if it goes to 73K? So what? Would it be any different proportionally? Bitcoin to 73. I don't think it'd be a big thing. I think right now, and I never like to get too far ahead of the game in terms of saying, all right, that's it. It's going all the way down here. It's going to 40K or whatever. No, let's take it in steps. And I think really over the last couple of weeks, we've just gotten to this point where, look, Bitcoin wasn't doing what it's supposed to do. Not to mention, we have some patterns, shark patterns, all of that. Where the heck is it? Get the Binance feed or Coinbase feed here. And that this minimum retracement back to target 1 is necessary. And that's simply based on the software kicking out this pattern match. And with every bearish pattern on this cycle hitting at least target 1. And it was irregular, but we were saying that back here at the crab pattern where it looked like a breakout, looked like it was going to run. We had some confirmation that was delayed and started rolling over. I said, all right, we got to have to embrace that 75, 76K, 76.5. And that was spot on. So next stop is 93.2. Hey, look, you're coming up a little bit. Great. You have just bounced $1,000 off of cracking that again. Wouldn't be surprised. Doesn't change this longer term breakdown here. That's it. Let it. You hope it bounces. And I would say 107 is probably now resistance. going forward. And we could come all the way back to like 107 pretty easily and still have to eventually tag 93. Yeah, few more. What's up, Cody? We wanted to look at Hertz and BMNR. Well, Hertz is HTZ, right? This was a IPO that came out. All right, that's big, up, great, but maybe a few days ago, there's a retrace, buying on a retrace. Weekly, I thought there was something here, but yeah, they're not that great. Again, guys, I think a lot of times the speculators want to kind of bottom fish to catch something like this. But what happens is, yet when it doesn't work, you get caught, and they go nowhere. Speaking from experience, so that's basically all I really have for that. I will say something like that is, look at this versus Tesla, and Tesla's probably done for now. Massive Type 2 deep crab. We will get the dot with one more bearish candle, no doubt. But and longer term, I do think someday Tesla sees 800. But right now, you have to deal with this deep crab. How do you get to that longer term target? After you work through this bearish pattern. And this is part of the framework discipline necessary to really get the most out of what harmonic patterns give us. Okay, I'm bullish on Tesla long term. I've been bullish on Tesla this year, really since started looking at target 1, then we got all the way down to target 2. We were looking for this retrace on Tesla at the beginning of the year, like that. And then it returned from here. Now, you're up here. We do need a dot. We've been looking at this for a couple months at XA 444. All right, we've checked back. One bearish week, one more bearish week, and you'll have it. And the way to look at that or treat it, again, it's not easy, guys, because I know it's a lot of people, especially new folks, are looking at patterns and zones. They get caught up really on like one level or one number. But you have to look at the whole zone and look for in here for the confirmation, where obviously reacting off of this resistance target. Now, I think we've given this, our minimum 3 to 5 bars. 3 to 5 bars can't really push through. And so if we get the retrace, where's the next jump on point for Tesla? Let it come down. It's out of the zone, some kind of reaction minimum. On the daily is like this, and we have patterns here as well. Ideal, just on the daily, ideal would be 372. That's how to read it. We have patterns, yeah. We have confirmation, yeah. Another one where it's slightly before that area, but clearly this 886, 457 is a concrete ceiling. Can't get through the 886, not yet. So the way to look for this is simply respect the resistance, respect the pattern, let it do the retrace and get oversold. That's on the daily. At this point, either HSI dot or target 1 or both. But right now where we are, you're not longing. I mean, this has completed what we asked of it. That's the thing. And that's where in the last 2 or 3 weeks, as we've clipped many targets as we've kind of gone along here. I'm not going to just keep adjusting targets. I'm going to say we have to do a retrace. We have to kind of pay for what we were given. And then if that's a reaction to 372, great. Let it happen. Let it happen. Uh, couple more. Couple more. Greg saying he dumped everything related. I would just be looking for that retrace. If we have another set of opportunities, it will come. And maybe it's not going to be as severe as maybe March was, but we're really similar spot in terms of the confirmation and the resistance. Let it come to us. Couple more. Yeah, we're up 1%. We're so back. Rivian, I'm going to say this again. We've got a lot of stocks that look like this. Rivian, couple patterns. Where are the obvious levels? I mean, I'll ask you, okay, what's the last confirmation here? It's bearish with that HSI, which means this reaction from, and that's a daily chart, the last 10 days, that's just a dud. But where's the pattern and what does it have to do? There's a couple bullish patterns all the way down here. Did the type 1? Did we have a type 2? Not yet. So again, same deal. I mean, I'm glad you bring it up. It's not my favorite because it's not really trending in a long-term sense, but pattern-wise, a lot of people that would chill something like this and say, yeah, Rivian's got this, got that, whatever. If you just pull up your chart and look at where's the pattern complete, XA level needs to be a type 2 back there, 1036. Not until. One or two more. Look, I've been talking quantum stocks. Last week I said a lot of these were putting in a dot on the daily chart. Rigetti, okay, did this massive move. Rigetti was one we were in on earlier this summer, and it got to 3618. And we said, let this come back in, get dot to dot. Well, there was the dot. We got it last week, and we checked back today. That's 38. Okay, and I'm just looking now. I haven't done anything. It's a hell of a move. Are we gonna give back more of this move, or is this a high level continuation? 38's the number. I'm looking closely on Rigetti, but we need to see progress as well. So if today was like day one on that consideration, it's not in position just yet. Do any kind of continuation. I would love to get a bigger pattern, quite frankly, on these. Rigetti, D-Wave, all the quantum stocks. But the thing about Rigetti that we talked about, and this was from one of our last discussions, simply the fact that had that parabolic move off the last retracement phase from earlier this year. It's a 3618, guys. It's a 3618 at like 55. And now what? Do minimum 382, almost there. It's like this. And again, these were huge. The Rigetti went way farther than I ever thought it could. 382 all time is like there. And that's essentially where the dot is. I'd love to get a deeper retrace. I'd love to get some kind of deeper pattern on it. I'll bring this back up on Thursday, but I'm not doing anything with this yet. In fact, I'm not liking the fact that we're back here. Rigetti on the 4-hour. This one and D-Wave and Oklo and all of those plays. All right, they've done their move. And longer term, yeah, they probably will go higher. Like Rigetti and the whole quantum sector, it's going to go higher in the long term. Our job is to identify where do these on swing points get where they go too far, too fast, and give us these longer term opportunities. On the weekly, it's a little bit different. Weekly's got more work to do. Way overbought. Oklo and Bloom Energy and all. I mean, these are massive. They're massive. My point, and I think these are ones to focus on. Palantir, all those hot names. They're going through the next retracement phase, but let them come in. Here's Palantir off 15 today. It was above 200. I mean, this thing's a monster. Been a monster. I mean, we've been in Palantir in front of that for a long time. I mean, since Palantir broke above 30. Now 192. Okay, seems like a lot. Let's get oversold like we were back here on Palantir at 154, and that was August. Or you go back here, and that was obviously like everything else, March, April. Wait, demand it, guys. I mean, demand it. I mean, Palantir is one of those stocks that is going to keep going, but I want to wait for stuff like this. We're overbought here. Is it come on back down or even come on back to 154? That would be great. Give me something oversold. Couple more. NVIDIA got us, I mean, this is pretty clear. NVIDIA back at 200. All right. It had a few things. Okay. We had HSI last week, and the check back was yesterday. Today, throw down. We're going to get a dot. This is still, it's an ugly type 2, but it's still a type 2. And I think it's going to be more to like, NVIDIA come down. It's either going to be some kind of counter signal, lower, or even as far as T2. Demand it. Okay? Don't just, I mean, NVIDIA's a monster. Again, our job here with the framework, with the patterns, identify where the extreme overbought, oversold levels are. Confirmation and patterns. And that's a T2. I would be looking for this to come all the way down. Target to 174 is definitely off of that type of reversal and everything. Yeah, I mean, and it still wouldn't be a big deal. Not at all. Maybe an ideal continuation point, but just to get you guys clear that framing all of that out, okay, is how I'm looking at the next set of possible opportunities at a target down there. I'm just going to go through we did this with Mag 7 last week. Google. I think this is something that continues to go higher. Right now, we're overcooked. HSI is today. We're going to wait, since that last dot, 240-ish. Long-term trend is a monster. I mean, that's a monster, but we're probably it for now. Like that. There you go. There's 1618, 1902. Like there's 1618. Weekly 1902. Like there. Yeah, I mean a little beyond that, but that's it for now. For now. Couple more. Some of these are still strong. The semiconductors, guys, the SOX is still going to lead. And I would be looking at the SOX. Let's see if we can get a real retrace off of. I mean, look at the semiconductor index off of April low. Great. I mean, massive. For now, get something like what we had back in September. Just demand it. We've got a few signals coming, this year alone. 1, and then that very high level 2 and 3 continuation signals. Just in the last 6 months, we'll get a fourth one. And they're big, those are big continuation signals just on a retrace within that zone. But we're not this for now. We are in the process of putting that, getting down to that level. There's HSI for the stocks. Let's be clear on where we are with all of this. Couple more. Yeah. Gold. Hey, what's up, Mr. Flowers? Gold. Yeah. Well, gold is, look, I think gold was the signal. Gold futures hitting the 4150 target. All right. Had a little bit of an overspill. And then we've been saying that, even though we had this deep crab, crazy overspill move, we're still saying that a retrace here, because of the weekly targets, we could still use this. It would be sloppy. It's kind of like Bitcoin with its aberrational structure, but still needs to come back. Target 136.50. I still like gold longer term. I think 54, 5,500 for this cycle is not out of the ordinary or not out of the question. But let's do a nice retrace, sizable. Target one at 36.50. Okay, it could happen pretty quickly. At least we're oversold now. We're here, oversold. We're checking back. All of that's like roughly 39.80. I'm looking for the bigger structural retrace. For me, that's 36.50. We get the 36.50, go. We go. And then remember, it's like this. Our target, our 4100, 4150 target was based on, let me just redraw it. It's like this. Monthly, 4150. Two expansions, one here. Yeah, it was that was 2618 off of that. Was 4050-ish. Yep. And then even the longer this, the all time. Here. There. That what was that? 2618. Almost perfectly. And that's that 4250. I've been saying 4150. It doesn't matter. But that's good for now. Couldn't bust through it. Let's get a nice retracement. Again, it's not going to look like much on the chart. But 3650 down to there. Yeah. Again, don't chase it. Gold's done an insane move. It's done for now. I mean, really, just done for now. Let us get that other daily retrace. It'd be great if it was a weekly retrace. You're coming into that seasonal bullish time, and that sets you up. Again, it's November, December, January, maybe February. But I think we'll get another dot continuation up in here like we had here and there and there. I mean, you got them. We got so many of these signals in the last year. This will be the next one. But that was the other interesting thing that really transpired in September, October. You had a absolute moon phase in gold, and Bitcoin didn't go anywhere. What was it? It was XAU BTC. Is that right? Or BTC XAU? Yeah. Like that. Pretty interesting. Now you have a type 2 on that BAP pattern. Bitcoin versus XAU. Yeah, that was the other thing. We had Look, massive deep crab on that pair. It was perfect, type 1, type 2. Were we looking at this the other way though? I do remember patterns in here. Maybe we're looking at it XAU BTC. If that's the case, guys, then we've got to go to target 2. And this thing has been done since July. It's like that. Stack it. I mean, just kind of stack the argument. Is it XAU BTC? That was the chart we were looking at. I think it's a better way around. I think BTC XAU is a better way to look at that. What's that tell you? Both of them are saying gold is going to outperform Bitcoin. That's what that says to me. All right, let's do a follow-up. Where are we at? Bitcoin. All right, a little bounce. Good for you. Let's hope we can bounce back to 107 right here. 101, 200. Big BFD. BTBT. Yeah. Again, I've been saying under 4 to buy that. Well, that was stupid. I mean, again, I said target 1 was 346. Anywhere under 4, 346. Yeah. But like the rest of these, probably what I really thought we were breaking out because I thought we were failing that dot here. But you know, where is it? It's not there yet. So I'm early. Yeah, I've got some. The real breakout move. Ugh, where are you going to come back to? I need another oversold before I put anything else into that. Yeah, we were looking for this to continue. And it's still this weekly chart. There you go. You're back down under. It was under 4 is the XA level. And you didn't break out. So you're stuck here between 3 and 4. And I think it's always been 3 and 4. It's not what we want, no doubt. Still a pattern that's just stuck in that zone. We got to turn this thing around again. It's probably more like the Clean Sparks of the world, the Maras of the world. Let them come back in. Like Mara or Riot. Where's Mara? Daily. Yeah, let that come back down because that's almost oversold. That's in a better spot. Probably needs another 2 days down, but that's closer to being oversold than BTBT. And if BTBT does register, then add more between 3 and 4. It's not a great look for crypto, no doubt, but that was long term anyway. Yeah. I don't know the whole Bitcoin thing of cracking 107 from weeks ago definitely played against it. Why don't we look at MicroStrategy 250? Yeah, okay. So remember, yeah, I remember we did have this deep crab, but there's still no confirmation, and there's the hop level at 255. Let's watch 255. But as a trade, there's no confirmation on this T2. That's the difference. This thing never got out of the zone. It will be interesting to see what happens to this. Watch 255. Like here and now. I'm not crazy about it. I mean, really, since we busted the weekly, never you Yeah, since this was it. Here, ever since we busted the 50, and that was back in July, August, we've been firmly under the 50 level. That has to turn around before I would even consider it down there. I love the pattern. I wish I could say, guys, it's a type 2. It's a perfect type 2. Just go ahead and hit it the hop. There's no confirmation here. And I'll monitor this. Maybe 255, a little bit of a bounce, but I don't. It's not the kind of confirmation like we had a year ago where everything was popping with confirmation. Totally different. This is a different setup than a year ago, guys. Yeah, I'll watch it. I'm not crazy about the way this has unfolded here, though, without any kind of oversold in this area, 255 to 297. Yeah. What about Euro USD? Haven't looked at it. What's going on? Here's Euro USD. Okay. Dollar getting a little stronger, which has been the story, for the last month. Ever since that April low, February low, dollar was getting weaker, market was going up. Okay. Now what? I mean, euro is at 114. Gartley. Maybe that has a little spice to the argument here. The dollar, Euro USD's definitely in a type 1 retrace. 116. Go to 110. I would say so. So that's probably part of the story. You got a stronger dollar, and euro's an example of that. What about like dollar yen? Haven't looked at that in months. Still, yeah, there's dollar yen right back up in that bat zone. There's something massive here on the monthly, I think. Come back to this. Yeah. Oh, it's a target one on that massive crab. I'll come back to that. The currency thing, whether other than dollar being up, dollar down mildly. I mean, the currencies have kind of lost, in my opinion. I don't know if you trade currency or not. I haven't in years. They just kind of lost their volatility. I don't know. I'm more about just kind of tracking major indices and looking at individual players for opportunities than anything else. Trying to correlate dollar or rates or gold. Yeah. Uh, you have to remind me. What's up, Feature 94? Ask me about Tron, TRX, or TRX Gold. You got to tell me because that's TRX Gold. But I think what you want is Tron, right? Tron. 28 cents. That's a pattern. I know we talked about this crab pattern. And now you're back down there. Where's your... I know we talked about this hitting 28. Okay, now I know what you're getting at because we did talk about this. It's been a few weeks. And trending, yep, Tron certainly was one of the crypto that we liked because it was trending, but we finally got to target one, 28.39. Okay, now it comes back to me. I think the day we were crashing, we talked about this. So go back to like early October, second week of October, what we were saying, which basically was let it do the type 1 and get oversold because we've had it there and back here as well. So January, February-ish, and then again in May, and so maybe another one in November. Oh, not yet though. No. No, it's not ready. It's certainly been one of the few. I mean, that was like Zcash style, but we're still looking for a retrace because of the pattern. And I do remember saying I'm not absolutely crazy about the pattern. I mean, this anchoring off of that kind of a point, listen, it's still valid. And it's something I learned with the software. So again, get the software, because what I learned with the software was that the combinations of patterns, or the combinations of measurements that make the pattern, were still valid even if they grabbed from intermediate points. And that's why the 33 to 35 resistance was so strong. Doing a type 1 reaction. That's it. It had to do the reaction, just like the NASDAQ has to do its reaction right now, just like Bitcoin needs to do a reaction now. Where are the opportunities? They're not. There really no opportunities yet during this retrace. Not yet. Not till we get formally oversold. That's it. You're early on anything until that happens. One or two more. I got lunch coming. Hey, how about let's really quick for everybody here again. Come on Thursday, get a free trial. Harmonic Pattern Collection for TradingView. Send your HPC, send your TradingView username to HPC at SR-analyst. Get the software. God knows we're going to need it. Okay, and then get back here on Thursday. So next person to type in HPC 30, I'll give a 30-day trial, and you can get with the software for a month and take the time. Everyone else, I think within 2 weeks you should know. You see, basically you need the levels. Yeah. We did that. We did BTBT. BTBT is 346 right now. Couple more, and then I'm going to go break. One or two more. Sorry, hold on. You got it. Hey, now. Here's what you got to do. Now, just I'm going to put the link for the Discord and connect with me there. I can't even get it. Hold on. Hey, somebody pop that Discord link in for me. Thank you. Appreciate that. Hold on. I'm not set up. Here's the link coming at you now. And anybody else have any questions you want to get to me over on the Discord, connect with me there. We just plop the link in. One or two more. Yeah, high flyers like ASTS. Are they oversold? Do we have a signal? Because that's a parabolic run. And this was one of the ones we talked about. This one and Rocket Lab. And how do we know it's a parabolic move? Because look at the extreme extension. There's the 2618. There's the 314. Like there. And that's 3618. That was 94. That's the best you're going to do. So structurally, that's been done for a month. And that's how it happens, guys. Again, I will, on Thursday, is going to be a big part of the strategy so you understand kind of the harmonic ladder of ratios of how to look at it. You get to a 3618. You're mostly done. You need to be thinking that's as much as it can give me for now without before it needs to do a 382. I mean, that's kind of the interpretation. Your 382 for ASTS is right where you are right now, 69. But that's the framework. That's basically how we're assessing any crazy parabolic move. And the other one is this Bloom energy. These have been the big high flyers. Where's the weekly? Bloom's like this. It's similar to the kind of the 886 IPO, ICO reset, but look, Bloom Energy, it's crazy. Where is it going? It's a new concept stock. It was 10. It went to 140. Well, by the time it hit the 1618, we knew something crazy was going on. That was 68. Go to, say, 2618. 2618 is like 105, 314, 125, 3618. There it is. 142. It's now 133. You're done for now. You're done for now. And this company probably will be someday a $100 billion company. No doubt. I mean, again, these new concept stocks, whatever, that's 30 billion. But the way that these grow, they take shape, they do a massive price discovery move. By definition, harmonically, that's how we think of it. And so ASTS, Bloom Energy, they're all the same. You let them do their 3618s. Okay, then we get a 236, which would be minimum like 110, 115, maybe even a 382, which is back down at like 90. All right, and this is one of the strongest stocks this year, if not the strongest, or top 10, what have you. So it was a 10x off the low. We are done with that for now. And I do think that after the retracement will go higher. But right now, let it come in. You have gone as far as you can ask it to. Yeah, I think so. And guys, with the rest of these, the BTs of the world, and the rest of them, we'll get set up. We'll trigger another oversold, and they'll try to go again. The IRENs of the world, I know a lot of people have been on this. It's at a 2618. How do we know it doesn't go to a 3618? You've got a couple of signals, triggers, yellow dot, red HSI. The 2618 level is like 73. And you've banged it a few times. That's it. I know it's up now. It's up in a down day. That's great, but for now, that's about it. I was pounding the table for all year. It's kind of unfold. One or two more. Honor, Halliburton, bad. All right, we're still in a day looking for this stuff's going to run. I can't really give you more than just, hey, maybe we go from 26 to 30 or 26 to 31. That's the problem with these long-term downtrends. Until you can bust past that, you're going to fight it. You're not going to do a lot. You're going to go sideways. There's others, I saw Lilly was up, and look at that. Yeah, Lilly right back. Just caught this the other day. Look, Eli Lilly was 950. Gartley on the pullback to 650. Go again. And this is, without overcomplicating it, I bring this up because you just go back and say, all right, where's this coming from? If I'm looking left, is my trend up or is it down? I want to be favoring these going forward, especially with this retracement to come. We want more stuff like that. You guys know I like Broadcom. I think we're probably overdone right now. I don't know. I really I like Broadcom. I think this is we've got a ways to go where this will keep going higher. It's just this current retrace looks like it wants to retest maybe 340. But Broadcom's another one that I like. Nvidia. You guys know I was saying Nvidia had a zone between 195 and 210, 212. That hit. Broadcom's similar. And we've had a number of oversold there. Go back here, August, and all the way back here, June. And that's the kind of thing I would look for. This trending, look left, we're going up. Let it come back, retrace, hit it, go again. These others that are just swimming, they need time. I mean, Baba is a good example of something that I think is still in early development. And Baba, for a long time, was not doing anything. Like you go here, there's Baba. It was a bat on the monthly. You guys know we were talking about this at 77. All right, and it did the type 1. That's over. Now I'm looking for the type 2. Maybe not 77, but check out. That has made a lot of progress. There's the weekly. Like this, for me, is more of the kind of recovery plays that you could start to consider after this retrace. We have a shark. Do the 5-0 and go again. All right. Baba down here spent couple of years at that 77 before it really even took off. Treat that as like a first thrust. Let's get a retracement. Maybe it's 125. Seriously. It would be a massive opportunity. It's kind of like some of these other high flyers needing to do all-time retrace, 382 retraces. But we've just started that retrace. I don't have a lot of things that are really close to being a long opportunity right now. There's Baker Hughes, and that's been impressive. But even that, hitting a lot of overbought levels. I'm really looking. I'm not finding anything. If anything, what we've triggered means we have to come in and go lower, and a lot of these other ones are going to be probably just get demolished. I mean, there's another one, Dell, guys. Dell's was a ideal type 2. And then, yeah, remember that? That was from last time, 166. Now 156, so let that come in. Like 136, that's what we said last time, and it's followed through. We actually will get a dot at a much lower level. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's kind of the end of a wave, if you will. There's the bat, the weekly bat at 77. So we have to let these play out. Like, just you check the software. What is it, guys? You're looking at Dell. I love Dell. I think it's a great company. I think it's going to be a big winner in the future. Okay? All the same kind of hype you could say about crypto. But where's the opportunity? Type 1 did the reaction, target 1. Type 2, designated by the T2. There's your red arrow, checked back. Actually the dot's going to come lower, probably tomorrow. But I'm already saying I'm not even thinking about that till 136. And we're going to have to be really discerning on the levels and the opportunities, much like we were in February and March. I was on a buyer strike in February, and probably the only mistake I made in March was going in a little early. And now, are we getting out a little late? Maybe. Maybe a little bit, but not too much. Again, looking for this pause, looking for these levels and these patterns to resolve themselves now is not what most long traders want. But you're gonna have to have the discipline to let it happen, and that's Bitcoin, that's NASDAQ, gold, all of these, all of them. Sorry, QQQ. Where are we? 620. There's a daily dot. Come on back down. And the crazy thing is, all right, the 886 from that October low, little crash low, that's under 600, guys. Seems like a far ways away. It's not. And that's what you're dealing with. All right, I'll get one more. Is it? Is it really? Are you guys still with me? I'm on Starlink. I haven't had a problem. This is good to know. Hold on. Let me see, guys. Are we good? Thank you. Thank you. Great. I appreciate it. I don't know what that was. NASDAQ rolling over. I guess so. I don't know. AMT. I haven't looked at that. American Tower. American Tower. Weekly. Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked at that in a long time. It's a type 2 bat on the weekly. 1 and 2, but that's at 168. Yeah, that's not a bad one, but you're several weeks away. My concern with these that are at their lows for the year is that they will be continued to be sold as a tax loss kind of a deal. But it's like 10 lower. Yeah, guys, so we're going to have to embrace this. We're going to have to go back, get our hats back on from how we were thinking back in February into March. That's what's going down. We will get great opportunities, but they're going to have to come in at lower prices for sure. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at everything. I mean, even like Amazon and stuff did everything that I wanted it to do. Everything. Amazon is a daily deep crab up here. Remember, all the way back here, and look what happened. We hit the hop exactly. 253. 253. And we have been talking about this all year. Amazon, to do the deep crab, come down, do the return move, and there it is. And literally today's the dot on Amazon. And that's probably it. For Amazon going forward, targets reached up here, come back, fill some gaps, whatever, but that's like 230 or maybe even lower. Guys, I know this is not easy to see. What I'm trying to highlight, okay, and how I'm anticipating this is that I recognize how strong these levels are. You're at a T2. You have confirmation up here. You hit the hop level. Okay, you got to pay for that. We got to pay for that. So again, I want to be in front of this as much as possible and just call it as I see it, where the opportunity is not long. Let it come in. I mean, we could go back, tap that bat, but obvious gaps. This is all lower now, like 10% lower. That was a buying frenzy couldn't get through levels. Now you're going to have to retrace. A lot of those are all just kind of, we realized our targets. All right, let's circle back. Way longer than I thought. Come on back on Thursday, guys. Okay, get the software. If you don't have the software, please get the software trial for Thursday, and then I'll have the November Black Friday thing for you to continue. Send your TradingView username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. Our winner today, Mr. Now, you have to contact me on the Discord. Check that out. Everyone else, like 12:15, we will start on Thursday. And we'll talk about this. All right? This will be fully resolved by then, and we'll take it to target 1. Minimum 25,439. You're 620 at the moment. All right? The rest of it, Bitcoin, the rest of it, guys, I think within the long-term context of it, it's just more crypto volatility. Yeah, you're at 108 right now. That's nothing. I'm looking for 93, and then we'll deal with the rest later. But unfortunately, that cracks the whole year-end scenario. Like I'm gonna call it. Put a fork in it for the year. And if we come back to 107, any kind of a bounce, this is all resistance now. All of it. The rest of it, again, we're probably going to get all of crypto down to about 5 coins that really matter, and the rest are going to be just a joke. And I think Cardano is the classic one. Anyway, been fun. NASDAQ making new lows for the session right now. Take it another 200 lower. Let's go. And the rest of it, guys, Thursday's going to be really interesting. It'll be strategy. It'll be kind of an update of January and the June stuff that we talked about. And then what we can really expect on this retrace going into January now. That's what I have. Yep. You guys get over to harmonictrader.com. Become a basic member. Everything else, start your journey there. If you have any questions, get me on the Discord. All right. Been a good one. Let's stick to it. Until Thursday, come on back. Hit the like, subscribe on the way out so you get those notifications, and I'll check back. Be ready. Give you some goods, deliver some sauce here on Thursday, and with our Black Friday once a year go time special. Get it now. Get ready. All right, thanks, folks. Catch you next time. As always, go get them. Have a great one. See you on Thursday.